ජීවිතේ වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන හොඳම දේවල් විඳින්න. දැන් SLT broadband වෙතින් 75% දක්වා වැඩිපුර data සතුට ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම්.
Making headlines on First at 9. Child abuse and murder. Suspect wanted in the abuse and murder of 9-year-old arrested in Mulethiu.
You have to immediately take this action within a shorter period if you can conclude and give the maximum punishment for these type of suspects.
Economic recovery. Former Finance Minister says the International Monetary Fund duty complete in Sri Lanka and should leave now. Issuing a clarification. Finance Minister says allegations centering office of missing persons unfounded and manipulated for political gain. Nature's wrath. Over 50 newly constructed houses in Mavanella destroyed owing to strong winds. European politics. As Italy goes to vote, Germany's Angela Merkel finally strikes coalition deal. A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to our top story tonight. The suspect of the murder of the 9-year-old boy residing in Chilau has been arrested today while hiding in Nayaru, a fishing village located in Mulethiu. Upon arrest, the suspect confessed to his actions and was later handed over to the Chilau police for further investigation. Meanwhile, human rights activists call for a special court to be immediately set up to try crimes against children.
9-year-old Susit Nirmal, a grade 4 student of Iranavila College, was reported missing last Sunday. Following a complaint filed by the child's mother, police officers attached to the Chilau police station conducted search operations together with residents in the area. As a result, the body of the 9-year-old was found at a nearby forest. The post-mortem revealed that the child had been subjected to sexual abuse. CCTV footage obtained from a store which the victim often visited showed Susit Nirmal and another individual visiting the store before the boy went missing. Accordingly, police launched immediate investigations into the incident. As a result of a tip, the suspect of the 9-year-old's murder was apprehended by the police in Nayaru, a fishing village in Mulethiu located approximately 260 kilometers from Iranavila. Police spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara stated that the suspect confessed to his actions and revealed that he fled to Mulethiu the day after committing the murder. The suspect was identified as 52-year-old widower Jude Fonseca. Speaking about the matter to First at 9, Dr. Pratibha Mahanamaheva pointed out that procedural errors in the legal system should be avoided in such cases in order to punish the culprits as soon as possible.
Amendment to the penal code increased the punishment and a new offence was introduced. That is where grave sexual abuse against children. In this, minimum punishment 7 years, maximum punishment 20 years. If the suspect killed the child, then death penalty. So 2 offences are there. The main error in Sri Lanka, police investigations not properly done. Lot of delays are there. When the file submitted to Attorney General, it will take long time to study and basically indict that person. State must take a policy decision. Any grave sexual abuse against a child, finish the case within 6 months. Now government looking to establish special high courts for other cases. No, this is also a priority. Establish a special court for offences against children.
Over 50 newly constructed houses in the Ambadeniyawatta area in Mavanalla were destroyed owing to strong winds experienced in the area last evening. Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kodipilli, says that steps have been taken to provide assistance to affected families.
Families who were living in landslide-prone areas at Aranayaka and Mavanalla Divisional Secretariats in the Kegal district were evacuated from their homes last year. The government took steps to provide land and funds to construct 140 houses in the Veragoda and Thalgamo Grama Niladhara divisions. 50 of these houses were destroyed when strong winds accompanied by hail was experienced between 6 and 7 last evening.
අයිස් කැට වාගේ වැටුණා. එහෙම එන මේ හුලඟට මේ කොහොම කඩවන්නේ පොඩි පොඩි කෑලි.
මීදුමත් එක්කම තමයි මේ අයිස් කැටත් අපේ දැන් ගෙවල් ඇතුළට හිටන් අයිස් කැට ආවා. ඇත්තටම හැම දෙයකින්ම
We are helpless as we were evacuated once before. After the incident yesterday, we do not have any place to stay.
ඉන්න තැනක් ඇත්තෙම නෑ.
According to the correspondent, many houses were destroyed owing to uprooted trees. Meanwhile, speaking to Other Derana, Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre Pradeep Kodipilis said that a relief team has already been dispatched to provide assistance to the families residing in the area.
At the moment, there are drought condition is prevailing in some districts, especially in Kurunegala and Putlam, Rajpura, and some areas of Polonnaruwa as well. So, and some areas been identified in Kandios also. Around 350,000 people affected, but all the relief measures being taken by the Ministry of Disaster Management. And at the moment, yesterday, there were been strong wind blown over the Ramavsara area in Kingswood district. Around 18 houses temporarily been partially damaged in those areas. So, all the relief measures already been taken by the National Disaster Relief Centre. If there are any queries, then the people can access via 117 call centre number, and all the facilities already been organised in Disaster Management Centre to cope with all the communication matters in 24 hours for the public.
Meanwhile, Director of the Forecast Unit of the Department of Meteorology, Anusha Varnasurya, says that the rainy weather condition is forecast to gradually decrease over the next few days.
Actually, prevailing rain condition is expected to ease off to some extent during next few days, but there is some signs for again another rain is coming from 9th of this month. During the March-April normally intermonsoon period, this is typical for afternoon thunder showers. During thunder showers, there are some weather phenomena is possible. A temporary very strong wind and heavy rainfall, and also some hailstones also possible.
Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira today issued a clarification over allegations related to the recent appointment of members to the Office of Missing Persons. 7 members were appointed to the Office of Missing Persons on the 28th of February for a term of 3 years, with President's Counsel Salya Piris as its chair. Jayadeva Punyamurthy, retired Major General Mohanty Antoinette Piris, Dr. Shriyani Nimalka Fernando, Mirak Rahim, Somasiri Kelianage and Kanpidapille Vendan comprise the rest of its members. Minister Samaravira emphasizes in his statement that the mandate of the office cuts across all ethnic and religious boundaries, and that it seeks to investigate persons missing in connection with the conflict of the North and East and its aftermath. Refuting allegations that the office will be used to attack war heroes, he goes on to say that claims are unfounded, distorted and manipulated for political gain. Saying that it is merely an independent truth-seeking mechanism, Minister Samaravira said, despite its role as investigative body, the OMP is not a law enforcement or judicial body such as a court of law, which can prosecute perpetrators of violence. Highlighting the importance of OMP, the minister adds that a history of 30 years of violence is a witness to absolute necessity for an office for missing persons. Former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake says that economic principles proposed by the International Monetary Fund have led the public to be resentful towards the government. Citing that the IMF's duty in Sri Lanka is over, the former minister says there is no need to do everything that the IMF proposes.
There is really no need to do everything that organizations such as the International Monetary Fund says. We only have to listen to them. It's they who sometimes introduce economic principles which impacts the public in a negative way. What I think is that the IMF should leave the country since they've done what they've come here to do. Now there's a 15% value-added tax imposed when selling off houses. I promised to reduce the VAT to 9 or 10% in a couple of years. The time is ripe to do that. I've always fought with the logical know-it-alls at the central bank to decrease the interest rate on bank loans. That's when it's easy for people to start up their own business ventures. But they have introduced economic principles that would topple governments and destroy the country's economy.
Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, Mahinda Amravira, says that action will be taken to arrest former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran through the Interpol. Mahendran is one of the suspects related to the infamous central bank bond scam. Minister Amravira was speaking at a public gathering in Hambantota yesterday.
The bond scam was the biggest fraud to have taken place in this country, and we have started to uncover everything. The two main suspects are now in jail. The former central bank governor is abroad, but that wouldn't stop us from arresting him through the Interpol. We will bring him back to Sri Lanka to enforce necessary legal action. Everyone's asking about the cabinet reshuffle. We expect a cabinet reshuffle related to our party to take place within the next week.
Parliamentarian Vimal Weerawansa says that the no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe will be handed over to Speaker Karu Jayasuriya on Tuesday. MP Weerawansa made these remarks at an event organised by the members of the joint opposition who contested in the local authorities election from the Kadwala Municipal Council.
Several prominent members of the joint opposition participated in the event Let's Meet in Nugegoda on the 7th of March. It was held in Battaramulla today.
Nimalka Fernando is someone who publicly criticized the armed forces of this country. She's a woman who raised views in favor of the LTTE before the Human Rights Commission each time she went there. These kinds of people are the ones appointed as members to the Office of Missing Persons now. Then the Election Commission is yet to issue the final official vote of the local authorities election after almost a month now. Mind the Deshapriya, you should be ashamed of yourself. All three of you must resign from the commission. Then we have the members of the UNP meeting at different places these days. We will present a no-confidence motion to the Speaker on Tuesday. The Tamil diaspora is trying to bribe UNP members with 35 million rupees, saying they should raise their hands in favor of the Prime Minister. The Tamil diaspora and Western countries want the Prime Minister to pass the proposed separatist constitution. The Tamil diaspora and Western countries want the Prime Minister to pass the proposed separatist constitution.
Meanwhile, views were expressed in the political arena regarding the alleged no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Some talk about this no-confidence motion only to build an image for themselves. UNP members as well as members of the joint opposition are talking about this every day now. So we asked them to present one at the parliament. We can then see what happens. The joint opposition, UPFA and members of the UNP such as Palitharange Bandara, Vasantha Senanayake and Ravi Karunanayake are all against the Prime Minister now. So the Prime Minister is under pressure from all three parties. The UNP will stand together to defeat any no-confidence motion brought forward to topple the government. This government is established to govern the country not only until 2020 but until 2025. Some are under the impression that the government is over now and that they should leave to the other side. But that can't be done anymore according to the constitutional amendments. We've taken away the pages that gave powers to leaders from J.R. Jayawardena to Mahinda Rajapaksa. Since that power was too much, we distributed that power among the Parliament, Speaker and Prime Minister.
The special envoy of the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, Prince Miredra Zaid Al Hussein of Jordan, is set to commence an official visit in Sri Lanka tomorrow. His three-day visit is organised following an invitation by the government. During his visit, the special envoy will call on President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana. He will discuss Sri Lanka's commitments to make the country landmine-free by 2020. He is also scheduled to undertake a field visit to the northern province, accompanied by the Minister of Rehabilitation and Resettlement, D.M. Swaminathan, to witness demining programs carried out in the areas. Al Hussein will meet with the UN country team, civil society and other stakeholders to discuss further assistance needed for landmine clearance and victims of landmines in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., the Special Envoy will deliver a lecture at Lakshman Kadiragama Institute on the topic The Ottawa Convention on Anti-Personnel Landmines, Asia's Opportunities and Challenges. The visit is of particular significance since Sri Lanka acceded to the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, or informally known as the Ottawa Treaty, on 13th of December last year, becoming its 163rd state party. Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka is set to establish an accepted professional status for electricians in the country through accrediting their qualifications and experience. According to the Director General of PUCSL, Dambita Kumarasinghe, Sri Lanka reported 106 electrocutions, out of which 55% occurred due to wiring issues, maintenance and non-standards. The communique added that the initiative was taken in order to ensure the safety and quality of electrical installations and uplift the professional status of electricians. Furthermore, as per recent data, Sri Lanka has currently 21,000 electricians, with a majority being unqualified. With the introduction of the mechanism, all electricians will be issued a temporary license to continue their work, and that license will be valid for only 3 years. The remains of the chief incumbent of the Sri Bodhi temple in Colombo and the founder of the Buddhist channel, Venerable Derana Kusala was brought to Sri Bodhi temple last night. Many, including members of the Mahasangha, other religious leaders and politicians, as well as the general public, arrived at the Sri Bodhi temple to pay their last respects to the late Thera. The cremation ceremony will be conducted with state patronage on Thursday, the 8th of March, at the Independence Square in Colombo. Let's now take a look at some of the stories making news across Sri Lanka.
One died due to an explosion that occurred in a scrap iron yard in the area of Palavia in Puttlam today. The deceased was identified as the father of two named Nazir Mohammad Adil. Further investigations into the incident are currently underway. Farmers of Paravahagama in Anuradhapura claim that they do not have water for cultivation due to 16 tanks running empty due to the prevailing dry weather conditions in the area. It was revealed that they are not only affected by the water issue, but they also face threats from wild elephants. The farmers claim that they have been facing threats from wild elephants due to the lack of a proper electric fence. Houses of 5 three-wheeler drivers in the area of Tiranagama in Hikkaduwa have been attacked and damaged by an unidentified group. The incident had taken place as a result of a dispute between the three-wheeler drivers and the unidentified group several days ago.
Watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Ambassador of Japan Kenichi Suganuma says that with Sri Lanka experiencing increased business activity, economic relations between both countries continues to be renewed and strengthened. Speaking at the Justica Awards 2017, the ambassador added that Japanese firms have shown keen interest in investing in the island and hopes both countries will be able to work together to remain competitive in the global market.
The 22nd Annual Justica Awards 2017 was held under the patronage of the Ambassador of Japan Kenichi Suganuma in Colombo last evening. The event was organized by the Japan-Sri Lanka Technical and Cultural Association. Awards were presented under the Taiki Akimoto 5S and the Magaki Yamamoto Kaizen categories.
The winner of the gold award in the last category.
The relation between Japan and Sri Lanka is being renewed and being strengthened again. And soon we are hoping that the President Sirisena is visiting Japan, and there also we will have a big investment and economic seminar, and we are expecting many Japanese companies and Sri Lankan companies to join that seminar. So we can see that the relation between the two countries is being strengthened, and also the business activity has been increasing, and we are hoping that it will further strengthen. Sri Lanka is an island country like Japan, so it needs to export, sustain the level of living. And for that, all Sri Lankan companies need to increase productivity to be competitive in the global value chain. And we are also hoping that there will be more Japanese investment here and that they can work together with Sri Lankan company to make Sri Lanka much more competitive in the world market.
Market analysts expect local buying interest and market turnover levels to remain at moderate levels with slowness in market activity. During the week, the all-share price index and the S&P SL20 lost 0.28% and 0.29% respectively, whilst recording an average daily turnover of 1.8 billion rupees. Let's now cross over to Archadan Sri Rangan from First Capital with your weekly forecast for the upcoming week.
We expect the market to continue the witness slowness in the activity with the subdued earnings that are being released. The local buying interest and the turnover levels are likely to remain moderate, adapting a wait-and-see approach, as investors are looking out for the proper direction in the market. However, the foreigners are likely to be active, primarily driven by the bargain hunting. However, lower volumes expect to be actively dominated by the blue chips counters.
President Donald Trump escalated threats of a trade war yesterday, saying he would slap a new tax on European cars if the EU retaliated against his proposed steel and aluminium tariffs. EU trade chiefs have reportedly been considering slapping 25% tariffs on around $3.5 billion of imports from the US, following Trump's proposal of a 25% tariff on imported steel and 10% on aluminium.
Trump took to Twitter today saying that if the EU wants to further increase tariffs and barriers on US companies doing business in Europe, the US is ready to apply a tax on European cars which freely pour into the US. According to the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, the US imported more than 1.2 million European cars from brands like BMW and Volkswagen. Meanwhile, Chinese Vice Foreign Minister Zhang Yusui said at a briefing today that China does not want a trade war with the United States but will defend its interests.
China does not want to fight a trade war with the United States, but we absolutely will not sit by and watch as China's interests are damaged. If policies are made on the basis of mistaken judgments or assumptions, it will damage bilateral relations and bring about consequences that neither country wants to see.
French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire says the European Union will unveil plans to tax large global tech companies' revenue at a rate in the 2 to 6% range. According to Reuters, the draft European Commission document proposed a levy based on where the customer rather than the company is located. The proposal aims at increasing the tax bill of firms like Amazon.com, Google and Facebook, which are accused by large EU states of paying too little by rerouting their EU profits to low-tax countries such as Luxembourg and Ireland. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is set to form her fourth government after the opposition Social Democrats voted in favour of another grand coalition. The vote by 464,000 rank and file members ends 5 months of political deadlock since September's election.
The Social Democrats had been split between the party's leadership, which backed joining the coalition, and its radical youth wing, which did not. SPD voters approved continuing the coalition with 66% in favour and 33% against. The Social Democrats suffered their worst ever election result, and many blamed their coalition with Merkel's Christian Democrats party for the poor performance.
At an annual dinner held yesterday, US President Donald Trump joked about White House chaos and poked fun at his aides and wife in a light-hearted speech. Amongst jokes were comments over talks with North Korea and his praise for Chinese President Xi Jinping.
In wide-ranging remarks at the Gridiron dinner, Donald Trump took aim at a number of targets, including Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Trump has said that he would never have appointed Sessions if he had known he was going to recuse himself from leading the investigation into possible Trump ties to Russia. Trump went on to say that North Korea had called up a couple of days ago to say they would be open for talks. It was not clear if this was also a joke. Meanwhile, Trump reportedly praised Chinese President Xi Jinping's bid to extend his leadership beyond the constitutional limit. Trump was quoted as saying that he is happy that Xi is now president for life and stated that maybe they should give it a shot as well. China's governing Communist Party is expected to remove a clause in the constitution later this week, which limits the president to 2 5-year terms.
Waves battered the coastal railway line at Dolly Station in Devon on Britain's southwest coast yesterday as Storm Emma whipped up strong winds and brought more harsh weather to the UK. Meanwhile, at least 7 people were killed and over 2 million households cut off power by a ferocious storm that hammered northeastern United States with powerful winds, relentless rain and historic flooding.
Storm Riley slammed New York and New Jersey with heavy snow and strong winds while bringing high waves to Massachusetts with a threat to coastal residents. Over 200 National Guards joined the rescue operation and over 1,800 people were evacuated. Virginia and Maryland declared a state of emergency day before yesterday as severe winds and heavy rain battered the east coast. 7 people are reported to have died by falling trees, which includes 2 children. Meanwhile, the main railway line at Dolly Station in Devon, UK was hit with flood damage day before yesterday as Storm Emma approached. The seawall on the Devon section of the line has been damaged by large waves. Snowstorms from Siberia blasted Britain and Ireland last Thursday with the worst weather since 1991, causing chaos across the country. More freezing snowy weather was forecast as Storm Emma approaches from Portugal and France, with warnings of treacherous weather across southern England and Ireland.
Let's now take a look at some of the emerging stories from across the world.
Pro-government forces in Syria have reportedly recaptured about 10% of the rebel-held Eastern Ghouta enclave. A war monitoring group says fighting on the ground intensified yesterday. More than 640 people have been killed since the 18th of February. More than 150 of them are children. Voting started in Italy's election today, with former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi's alliance of centre-right parties expected to win most seats, but fall short of a parliamentary majority. Some 50.7 million Italians are eligible to vote, and polling booths will remain open until 11 p.m. local time. The victory of Bharatiya Janata Party in Tripura is a journey from zero to peak, said Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, congratulating his party workers in New Delhi yesterday on its thumping victory, bagging 43 out of 59 seats in India's northeastern state of Tripura, where it did not have a single seat ever. The BJP and its ally parties won majority in the states of Tripura and Nagaland, while India's main opposition, the Congress Party, won 21 seats out of 59. The International Yoga Festival kicked off at a local Hindu monastery in the North Indian holy town of Rishikesh yesterday. More than 80 revered experts and yoga instructors from 20 countries participated in the festival and will be teaching more than 200 different styles of the ancient art.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
The 139 Battle of the Blues between St. Thomas College and Royal College has been rescheduled to the 9th, 10th and 11th of March. The move comes as a mark of respect for the former student of Royal College, late Venerable Darana Kusada Thera's cremation, on which is set to take place at Independence Square on Thursday. In the meantime, the 89 Battle of Maroons concluded in a draw today.
The 89 Battle of the Maroons between Ananda College and Nalanda College ended in a draw today. Ananda College scored 141 in their first innings and Nalanda responded with 213 in their first innings, obtaining a lead of 72. However, Ananda College stayed resilient throughout day 2 and managed to draw the match, ending the day on 252 for the loss of 7 wickets.
The first match of the Inter-School Rugby Tournament was played between Royal College Colombo and Kingswood College Kandy at the Royal Sports Complex in Colombo yesterday. Royal College emerged victorious with 23 points to 3.
Royal College thrashed Kingswood College 29-3 in the opening match of the Inter-School Rugby Tournament played at the Royal Complex yesterday. Although Kingswood opened the scoring with a penalty kick, at half-time Royal led 7-3. Royal scored 5 tries and 2 conversions in all, with 22 of the total points coming during the second half.
Shenla Fernando is at the other Derana Weather Centre with your forecast first evening edition.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow will range between 19 and 31 degrees Celsius, with the lowest yet again expected in the Central Hills. Well, looking at the map, a low pressure zone will form from the east of the island and will gradually disappear. Well, the very north of the country, including Jaffna, Manna and Vaunia, will experience continuous sunshine. But coming a bit down, Kandy, Colombo, Negombo, Galle and Matara will experience showers and thunder showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And before we go with tonight, we'd like to take you to China's Jiyan city, where a colourful drone light show was held as part of the Lantern Festival celebrations. Hundreds of drones flew in formation, forming different shapes of icons and Chinese characters, lighting up the sky of the ancient Silk Road city. It was said that 500 drones were employed in the 10-minute choreographed performance. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.